Welcome back to ringside for more fantasy warfare action. This next one's got me excited. It's one I think we all would have loved to see if Bret the Hitman Hart's career didn't come to a premature end in 2000. It's a submission match. Let's take it down for the introductions.
The following contest is a submission match. Making his way to the ring from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 246 pounds,
Kurt Angel. As I always say, our community creators do a wonderful job at trying to get it as close as possible, but it's not always possible. But Kurt Angel will definitely do on that one. But it's Kurt Angle hitting the ring here this week in Fantasy Warfare for a submission match against Bret the Hitman Hart. Last week, Kurt Angle was involved in a wild ladder match with Kenny Omega for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, coming up just a little short. So he'll look to rebound here this week against the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, Bret the Hitman Hart. And here he comes, the tunes, the great tunes of Bret the Hitman Hart.
representing the Hart Foundation from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, weighing in at 235 pounds, one half of the World Tag Team Champions, Bret the Hitman Hart.
As I was saying before the introductions began, the tunes of Bret the Hitman Hart. I don't think this man's ever had a theme song in pro wrestling that I didn't like. Even his WCW theme songs, which were a little bit of a departure from the usual Bret Hart fare, were still pretty decent. I actually preferred his first one over his second one, even though the second one was readily available thanks to the Hitman Hart Wrestling with Shadows soundtrack that came out as a CD in the 90s. That's right, I own that stuff, and I bought it just because the Bret Hart theme was on it. But theme song love aside for Bret the Hitman Hart, this match ought to be an exciting one. It's submission rules, two of the very best technical wrestlers in the history of professional wrestling battling it out. It's the ankle lock against the sharpshooter. Bret Hart, one half of the World Tag Team Champions, as it was announced during his entrance, with Jim the Anvil Neidhart in the Hart Foundation. Of course, this is a singles match, not a tag team match, so Bret's tag team title is not on the line. Although, what a concept that would be, huh? If we decided that whatever tag team champions were in action, if they lost that singles match, they lose their tag team titles. So in theory, let's say Kurt Angle defeated Bret Hart here today. The new tag team champions would be Kurt Angle and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. That'd be kind of interesting. I don't think I will do it, but it would be interesting. Anyway, coming back from Fantasyland, even though we're already technically in Fantasyland, it was like another vortex of Fantasyland. Anyway, nice throw by Kurt Angle as he just lifted Bret the Hitman Hart up like he was nothing, threw him across the ring, and now mounted, raining down with those fists there just a moment ago. Not quite sure what punching the hell out of a guy's face is going to do in a submission match, but I suppose if he just kept punching the guy's face, he might tap out. He might scream, "I quit." I suppose it could be a sound theory. But this looks like it might yield a little bit better of a result as Kurt Angle's got an armbar on Bret the Hitman Hart, but Bret is now rolling through and back up. Oh, nice shot to the jaw, Kurt Angle. Kurt might have done the damage he needed to do, though. As you saw there, Bret got up and he was clenching that left arm. Kurt Angle's got both arms hooked. Ooh, nice butterfly suplex. Nearly threw Bret the Hitman Hart into the corner. Kurt now up to the top rope. Uh-oh, moonsault time. Oh, but Bret Hart got the knees up before Angle could come down and hit the impact. Now Bret's got Kurt tied up. He's going for the sharpshooter. He's got it locked in. Could this be all? It's a submission match. Bret's #1 submission is now locked in. Angle's got nowhere to go to. He's not in a good position, but he is now using his lower body strength, and he breaks himself free of that sharpshooter that was locked in by Bret Hart. What power on display by Kurt Angle in his lower half. Those strong Olympic-trained legs. When he was doing the Olympic-style wrestling, you had to have strong everything in order to survive that world. I mean, of course, the man did win a gold medal with a broken freaking neck, but what a display of power by Kurt Angle to get out of that sharpshooter. Now Kurt Angle back in the driver's seat. Oh! As I say that, Bret Hart hits a bulldog counter on Kurt Angle to get back into the driver's seat here in the offensive category of this submission match. Angle catches Bret. Shot to the midsection. He's got Bret, throws him over the top rope, but Bret is still up on the apron. Angle follows him out to the apron. He's got him side suplex on the hardest part of the ring. That could certainly put a dent in your day if you are Bret the Hitman Hart, taking that side suplex on the hardest part of the ring apron. That is just metal frame, folks. If you're not familiar with the construction of a professional wrestling ring, all around, over that, in our current view, you see that red strip? Well, that red strip underneath that ring canvas, or that ring skirt, is literally our canvas, a little bit of padding, and then a metal frickin' frame. So Bret Hart just essentially got dropped on about an inch of padding and metal frame. Wonderful, wonderful time. And you're welcome for that education on a professional wrestling ring for those of you who are not familiar with a pro wrestling ring. His submission match is roaring on the floor. There are no countouts. There are no disqualifications, so anything goes on this one. But the submission does have to occur back in the ring, so these guys can brawl on the floor as much as they want for as long as they want. But if they want to pick up the victory, they do eventually have to bring the action back into the ring, because that is the only place where somebody is going to be able to tap-a-roo. What is Bret going to do with Kurt? Oh, gnarly. Interesting sound from the game, though. Went into the guardrail, but it sounded like he went into the turnbuckles. Oh, that sounded like ring steps. That one definitely sounded like ring steps. Boot to the midsection by Kurt Angle. Bret counters once again with a bulldog. This time it's on the floor. Angle blocks the punch of Bret Hart. Bret catches the leg. Nice dragon screw on the floor. These guys really got to consider bringing it back in the ring sometime in the near future here. They're doing a lot of damage to each other, but it's going to do a whole hell of a lot of no good if we don't get a submission in the ring. Oh, Bret into the ring post as Kurt Angle now back into the ring. Angle taking a moment to charge himself up, but that was the opportunity Bret Hart needed to get back into the ring. Boot to the midsection. Nice DDT by Bret Hart on Kurt Angle. He's got Kurt again. He's going for the sharpshooter a second time. Kurt Angle, he's close to the ropes though. Can he reach out and grab the bottom rope and get free? No, he can't. Kurt Angle taps out, and Bret the Hitman Hart wins this submission match. What a victory for the excellence of execution here in our second match of this week's episode of Fantasy Warfare. As we take a look at some of the highlights from this contest, we are going to take a brief intermission and then return to the ring for our third match of the night. It's going to be The Rock going up against Shawn Michaels.